right now on the social media scene, we are seeing Olinda, battling with the same Wicknel Chivhayo. Okay, we already know about the buying of cars, where Wicknel Chivhayo is buying cars for different artists in Zimbabwe. However, there's been a lot of talk with people saying, well, why is he buying cars for these artists? And yet, hospitals in Zimbabwe, they don't have ambulances, there's no medication, there are no beds. Why don't you use that money, to buy those medications and buy, ambulances instead of flushing the money in luxury cars for the artists? And of course, we cannot, dictate to someone how they use their money. And now Olinda came out to say, well, if you think you've got so much money, why are you ignoring hospitals? Why are you not buying, equipment for the hospitals and everything? And then to which we saw again is supposedly Wicknel Chivhayo handle on social media coming on to respond to Olinda saying, well, if you have that money, you do it yourself. You cannot tell me how to use my money. And also they started to get personal with their, with their chats on social media, insinuating that Olinda saying, well, maybe you hated me, you wanted me, to do whatever you want to do with me romantically, to which is also disputing that that never happened. Olinda coming out with some V11s showing screenshots, this and that. So all those are there, those are trending stories on social media. You can find them there. I don't have to go into detail about those ones, but all I can talk to you about is this, why this story started to trend more is because supposedly Chivhayo mentioned something to do with the caregivers. Caregivers who take care of old people in the UK. So he was like, insulting Olinda that, just continue with your caregiving with taking off old people. A lot of people were offended by that. Like, this is a livelihood for many Zimbabweans who are in the UK. So if you're going to degrade it just because you've got money to give cars to people, then there is everything wrong with that statement. This is the reason why this story started to trend even more. It is because of that utterance of looking down on the caregivers. This and that. And also the mentioning of Olinda's, HIV status, again, was another issue along that argument that they're doing on social media. But anyway, let's just move away from social media, going to Zimbabwe. When it comes to the sanctions, we already know about the renewal of sanctions and the review of the sanctions and what has been spoken on both sides, the Zimbabwean side and the US side. But however, it's not stopping there. There was also a statement that was released by the Home Office spokesperson, Matthew Miller, saying that the deportation, the detention and deportation of USAID officials and contractors was unjustified. They're alleging that the Zimbabwe government detained and deported USAID officials, and USA is not happy about it. They say Zimbabwe is trying to be I've been saying they want to be put back into the international community. However, they are doing contrary to that. And this is a statement that was issued by the Department of Home Office, of course, via their spokesperson, Matthew Miller there. Now, we saw again President Idi Mnangagwa also coming out to respond to this sanction issue, saying, well, they are not convinced, they don't even have to clap hands because there's been a review, because all they're saying that these sanctions, they are illegal. So there's nothing that anyone can say they have removed this, they have reviewed, so we need to be grateful for, because these sanctions just have to be removed. This was also what President Idi Mnangagwa said. I'm just going to let you watch just a short clip from what he said.
When some of the sanctions were removed and some remained, people expected me to say thank you for the removing sanctions. I cannot say thank you for removing illegality. These sanctions are illegal and they should be condemned. Whether they remove 99.9% and 0.5% remains, we condemn.
And now it is my honor to introduce the Charge d'Affaires of the United States Embassy in Zimbabwe, Larry Socha.
Good morning. Welcome everyone, and thank you for your attendance. I would like to address U.S. government announcements on March 4th regarding U.S. sanctions on individuals and entities in Zimbabwe. The United States is committed to upholding core values of respect for human rights and responsible, transparent governance. we have expressed and continue to have concerns regarding serious cases of human rights abuses and corruption in Zimbabwe. On March 4th, President Biden signed an executive order terminating the Zimbabwe Sanctions program, which has been in effect since 2003. That same day, the U.S. Department of the Treasury, Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, designated 11 individuals and 3 entities for their engagement in corruption and human rights abuses under the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act. The United States is committed to ensuring our sanctions are timely, relevant, and targeted against individuals responsible for corruption and serious human rights abuses.
Now, moving, of course, to South Africa, where the big one is happening there. I think South Africa has been our talking point mainly on different platforms because of these May 29 general elections that are going to be happening. You know, there's a lot that is going on the South African scene, and we can talk of the first process, which is that of candidates, right? So the Independent Electoral Commission, that is the IEC, announced on Saturday that a total of 115, that is 115 parties, submitted applications to contest seats in the National Assembly. Remember, the deadline for the submission of the candidates' nominations was Friday, 5 p.m. Okay, Friday the 8th. 5 p.m. So soon after the closing of the deadline, they then announced that about 115 parties submitted applications to contest seats in the National Assembly. They said all the other 14 parties that are currently represented in the National Assembly submitted applications to contest seats in the National Assembly. And there was a total of 101 parties that do not have seats in the National Assembly or provincial legislature who also submitted their applications or their nominations, making them a total of 115. Okay, so right now they said they're in the process of verifying the nomination that were put in, and then they're going to announce the final list. Okay, so there are also about 16 applications from independent candidates, those who do not have a political party that nominated them, they just put their own things. Okay, so like I said, they are now going through the verification process right now. But still on the issue of elections in South Africa, we also saw them saying, well, there has been a leakage of information that is not supposed to be out there. And they say they are investigating, like, how did that information end up being outside? So they're saying that is the cause for concern. How did that information end up being outside? According to a report by the Mail and Guardian, they say that there's been a leakage especially for leakage on candidates and some details about the ANC and the Umkhonto we-Sizwe. So the Mail and Guardian say, especially when it comes to Umkhonto we-Sizwe, they say Jacob Zuma is the number 1 candidate according to a document that was released, and the number 2 candidate there is the Jabulani Khumalo, who is the one who registered the MK party. He is now candidate number 2, and there are so many other prominent names in the South African political scene there, and some religious leaders also being part of that. Those are nominated candidates for the MK party, including Jacob Zuma's daughter, that is Duzile Zuma, also being part of that list that has been, leaked to the media there. So this is again the reason why we had the IEC saying that they're investigating who leaked that information of candidate nominations, to the media or to the public. Who did that? So they said they're investigating the issue, and they're going to, give out a report on why it happened and how it happened and who is responsible for leaking that information. All right. Now, as you already know, that earlier on in January, there were some reports that there were about 350 political parties, who were registered by the IEC. But those of those 350, of course, they already knew that not all of them were going to be able to, to nominate candidates and be part of the process for the 2024. So this is why we have seen now only 115, parties are the ones that have now, met the deadline of, presenting their nominations to the IEC. Now, even with that, we already know that there is a talk, out there. We know the ANC, the EFF, the DA, and the Umkhonto. And currently, Umkhonto is proving to be a force to reckon with, okay? It's proving to be a force to reckon with. If you're looking at what is happening in the South African political realm, you find that MK party is very, very popular with the people, very, very popular. And people have been fearing that it might even divide the voters like significantly and can even alter the results. So it's really a cause for concern for those involved in that. However, for the people of South Africa, they're saying we are tired of corruption. We are tired of so many things that are happening in our country. Therefore, the time is now to make that change that we want. So we are going to see how it's going to be, and I'll be following on that story. I've been following South African politics for that time. I've been following to see what is going on. Okay, and among the nominated candidates again for the Umkhonto is Reddy. Reddy is the one who was in the middle of the controversy of saying that they were going to cause some problems if they're not going to be on the ballot paper, this and that, and we saw him coming out to apologize, that is everything is out there in the news. So he's also part of the nominated candidates for the MK party. So that is all I have for you when it comes to South Africa, but I'm going to bring you more and more stories, okay? We know the MK party is here to stay and it's a force to reckon with, as well as the EFF standing on the other side there. Again, we saw some trending stories when we came across Jacob Zuma wishing EFF leader a happy birthday, when Julius Malema was celebrating his birthday, and people were like, what's going on? But it is what it is, it doesn't mean that, when you are different places, you have to not congratulate each other, we've got personal lives at the end of the day. These people have got their personal lives around there. So we saw that one as well trending, okay, in South Africa. So moving again to Zambia. President Hakainde Hichilema came out to say free education is important, especially in the empowerment of women. He was addressing women during the International Women's Day, and he said, well, they introduced the free education contrary to what the other, presidents who were there, who removed this thing, saying they removed it and we brought it back because we've got people at heart. And anyway, let's just listen to what he said during this commemoration when he was talking about education for all.
That's why we brought about free education. Others took it away, we brought it back. Others argued that it was not possible, there was no money. There is always money. It is a question of how you utilize it. We choose to utilize it to offer free education so that the women and the girl child and the family boy child can go to school.
Now we move on to Malawi. Malawi, they've been having problems with immigration. Remember, I shared with you when they say that, their system was heavy. But right now, they're also dealing with the issue of overpricing. Therefore, they have put out a statement saying they are closing all outlets that are selling sugar and those who are overcharging, the price of sugar. So they are going to be closed, all right? So this is, of course, coming from Malawi. With this drought, and businesses take advantage of such situations, and also if the price hikes, let's say in fuel or in other aspects of the economy, then everything else just goes high, and sometimes it becomes extraordinarily high for the ordinary person to have. So in this case, they're saying sugar is now beyond the reach of many Malawians. Therefore, any shop that is going to be caught overpricing is going to be closed. And this is the statement that they've issued, all right? So if you're still watching, please subscribe, stay, comment, like this video just for yourself, for support. I would really appreciate it. Let's move on to Miss World. Yesterday, we were watching the final of this, the 71st Miss World, which was happening in India. We were rallying behind our countries. Of course, as a Zimbabwean, I was rallying behind our Miss Zimbabwe. However, she just ended at in the top 40. It was getting tough out there. But again, as Africa, as SADC, as Southern Africa, we started to support Miss Botswana. She was just, the favorite of everyone internationally. The way she answers questions, the way she's beautiful, everything about her, we were all hoping that she was going to win this title because we saw a winner in her. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. However, she made it to the top 4, but she wasn't the Miss World. Miss World went to Miss Czech Republic. Okay, I cannot pronounce the name, but she's Miss Czech Republic. She's the one who won the title, the Miss World 2024. Also, good luck congratulations to our Miss Botswana. She did very well, and now she is Miss Africa World. Okay, or Miss World Africa, so she'll be representing Africa. Which is very, very good. She did very, very well for herself, and we also saw Botswana, around Botswana, supporting her, doing watch parties. A lot of people were gathered, watching on big screens, in the hope that she was going to be crowned Miss World. Unfortunately, it wasn't the time. It wasn't Botswana's time. Now, getting back to football, like I said, today we're going to be seeing the bitter rivals, Highlanders, taking on the Animals, and this is very, very quick and very, very important. And there's always chaos with these games, and the police, of course, they'll be on the lookout. We saw the statement that were issued earlier on, by the EPL, saying, well, each time Highlanders and Dynamos meet, there's always problems, this and that. We want the game to be okay. We want the game to be nice. So please, no fighting, no nothing. And of course, Highlanders and Dynamos do not like that utterance. Those utterances, they came out to say, well, we are big teams, therefore there's always bound to be tension, but it doesn't mean that, we are bad, okay? Anyway, let me know which team do you think is going to win. Is it going to be Dynamos or is going to be Highlanders? Of course, I am a Dimbare supporter. I support Highlanders, all right? So my name is Ziki, and until I come back again with more stories, please subscribe and stay so that you don't miss on this and more. And I'm going to bring you more and more stories coming from different aspects, different parts of the world. But right now, our focus is on the upcoming elections in South Africa that are going to be held on the 29th of May, and already we have seen 115 parties, putting on their candidates for these elections, and we're also waiting to see the final list that is going to be released by the IEC, all right, because they have to verify some information. They have to make sure that we see what is happening there and everything else. So my name is Ziki. I will keep an eye for you, and I'll be bringing everything here to you. If you want to be part of this video, or if you want to appear live on our videos, just let me know and I'll make it happen. Until then, take care.